Today we are heading to the thrift store inspired by high-end stores like Pottery Barn and Crate and Barrel to find some unique decor pieces to create a home that is rich in warmth and beauty, but not expensive. Hey there, my name is Sandra and you're watching The Schwowin's Nest. One of my favorite places to start thrifting is usually the glassware section, including kitchen storage. Glass is a blank slate, so you can always look for unique shapes and sizes, maybe some sets that fit together. With a little DIY and a little creativity, you can make them look stunning. This picture is actually plastic. It was hiding in the glassware section, and because it's clear and it was so big, I decided to grab it. It was only $1, and I'm using this placemat that I picked up at my local dollar store for $4.50. So altogether, this is only going to cost me $5.50 to create this project. This is my inspiration. It comes from Lake and London. That is a really high-end website that you can find, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's listed on sale at $145. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, I think it's gorgeous, but there's no way I would ever have a budget to spend that kind of money on something that I can make very easily. I'm going to continue to use this seagrass placemat, and I'm going to take it apart and glue all of the pieces onto the picture, working my way all the way up to the top. A project like this does take a little bit of extra time, so just turn on your favorite YouTube channel or your TV show and take your time. Once I got up to the handle, I found that I had to feed the rest of the strand through the handle in order to glue it properly. This was a little tricky at first, but I did end up figuring it out. When I got to the very top, I wanted to follow the shape of the pitcher with the little spout. So I very carefully just glued the strands on and then made sure that I had a really nice crease when I was able to just then push it over to the other side and make sure that that little lip was still intact. I didn't want to cover it up and I didn't want it to disappear. So it worked out really good. I did have to hold this down for a long time. I ended up getting my little clamps out because that just helped to hold it in place while the hot glue had a chance to set. I used 3/4 of a placemat for this portion of the picture, but I did need to cut open the next one for the handle and to finish off the top. These are held together by some white thread. They're literally just sewn together, these strands. It's super easy to take apart. Now that the picture is complete, it's time to work on the handle. And this took a long time for me to do because I had to make sure that the hot glue was completely set before I continued winding this around. This is really strong, tough material, and it needed a little coaxing for bending. Now, you probably could have made it a little damp, and that would probably help to bend a little bit more, but I didn't want to take a chance that that would change the color of it. So I'm just going to be patient, take my time, and go all the way around, wrap this until I get to the bottom. Any holes that I came upon that because of the shape of the handle, I just took little bits and pieces of the seagrass and filled them in. When the handle was done, I decided I wanted to cover up that rim just a little bit better. So I took another piece of seagrass and I'm just putting it on the inside and gluing the outside piece and the inside piece together, holding it together with the little clamps so it has a chance to set. And that just camouflaged that this was plastic at all. So you don't even see the rim. I think you can see the difference here between the part that isn't finished and the part that is finished. I think it makes it look a lot more complete. Now let's take a look at both pieces side by side. The inspiration for $145 is on the left and mine on the right for $550. Another piece that I found in the glassware section got me so excited. If you are familiar with this type of piece, it is from Blanco. They still make them today, but they're worth anywhere from $90 to $100. I got this one for $5. I love finding treasures like this that I can just display as they are in my home. It looks wonderful in my family room that has more of a beachy coastal theme. This bird was in the figurines section, and they always have a lot of animals and cutesy things, but I thought this one would be perfect for outdoors or maybe even the garden. But I'm going to give it a little bit of a different paint look on it. I like the terracotta or the concrete, and I love the distressing and the aged look of it, but it's still a little too orange for me. This is the inspiration for this bird DIY. I'm going to just tone down the orange and give it more of a patina look with some green, some blue, and a little bit of a lighter beige color. I'm going very lightly at first, and I'm just using a regular kitchen sponge. I want to have a little bit of color on there, but I don't want it to be in your face color. When I started with the blue, I got a little bit heavy handed with it. And then I thought, that's okay. It doesn't matter. I can always tone it down with a little bit more of the green paint and the beige that I'm going to be bringing in afterwards. So you can see there's a few green blobs, a few blue blobs, but that's all right. It's all going to blend together and you just keep working with it until you get the look you want. I found that this blue was probably a little too bright for what I was looking for, but I had already started with it, so I was going to completely go through the whole bird with the blue as well, and then decide what I would do next. Now I've switched over to the beige and I've also switched to the other side of the sponge, which was a mistake because that sharp line from the sponge started to transfer over to the bird and you can see it right here. And I thought, you know what? That doesn't look organic. It doesn't look natural. It looks like somebody painted. I stopped there and then grabbed a paper towel, which I made just slightly damp, and I'm using that to just add some of the beige paint onto the bird. This gave me a lot more control of where I was putting it and how much I was putting on. There's no trick to getting a look like this. When you want to age something, it's all about layering the colors and blending them in until they look completely natural, like they've been weathered outdoors. I took a $5 bird that I was able to look at the thrift store and see past the color that I didn't like. And I knew I could take it home and make it into something I would love. This is one of the sections that I try to avoid, although it's really difficult because this is where I find all the little white pictures. One of the downfalls that I have when I go thrifting is white pitchers. It doesn't matter what size they are, what shape they are. They're all so pretty to me, especially when they're glossy white like this. This one's made in Italy from Vietri. It is no longer available, but this is one that I found on their website that is kind of comparable. This one is listed for $104 and I got mine for $7.99. I've done some simple styling with it for the top of my hutch and just added a few beautiful sprigs of white florals and greenery, and I really love how it looks. Another area, which is also in the kitchen section, are the utensils. I'm always on the hunt for some old mallets and wooden spoons, things that would be weathered and aged naturally. They wanted $5 for this mallet. I didn't want it that badly, but I did find a few other things that I'll show you now. Now that we're also getting into garage sale season, I got this for $1 at a garage sale. I thought it was absolutely beautiful with that spiral handle. And then I did end up finding for $4 these 3 pieces, and for $6 the big mallet and a bunch of other spoons as well. Some of them are bamboo, so I might not be using those, but I do want to use all of the wood ones. Another section that I'm always on the hunt for are some good seagrass baskets. This one was $4.99. Absolutely beautiful. I originally thought I would hang it somewhere. That's why there's that little twine hanger on there, but I'm going to trim that off and style it here in my kitchen. Pottery Barn and McGee & Co. has some similar baskets ranging from $38 up to $57 and even more. So finding them at the thrift store for less than $10 is a steal. I love how this basket looks, styled with a little bit of greenery, some of the wooden spoons and mallet, and I added a couple metal items just to give it a little bit more texture. Lately, I've been looking at vases and vessels, and my heart has been drawn to pottery, like studio pottery and things that are hand turned, and I just fell in love with both of these pots. Looking at the Pottery Barn website, there's all kinds of inspiration for pottery, stoneware, terracotta, different colors, different shapes, different sizes. And when I'm at the thrift store, I keep these in mind, but I also keep an open mind to look for things that are the same yet different. The best thing is that I can be inspired by all of these beautiful decor pieces, but I can find things that aren't those prices. Of the 2 pieces that I saw on the shelf at the thrift store, I decided to take this one. It was $10.99 with 20% off, and boy, is it heavy. But I just love the lines of it. I love the glazing, the texture. There is no signature on the bottom, so I don't know where it came from, but it is beautiful and it's perfect just as is. You don't even have to put anything in it. And finally, the lamp section is always a great place to score some beautiful lamps that actually work. And most of the time, the thrift stores will have an electrical testing station. I found this one for $15 at the thrift store, and I also found the shade at a different thrift store for $5. I always love having a beautiful finial on top and the matching wood underneath with all of the variations in tones and colors was just perfect for my master bedroom. The Pottery Barn inspiration is on the right. My collection is on the left, and I think they look really similar. The Pottery Barn lamp retails for about $90, and it was a little bit taller, so I decided just to raise up my lamp with this chunky book and add a little floral accent piece. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you saw that you don't have to spend a fortune to create a home that is vibrant, rich, and filled with beauty. Thanks so much for spending some of your time with me today. See you in the next one.